sex offender status, he would have got 18 months. Without sex offender status, he was going to get 18 months. With sex offender status, he'd get 12. So 12. Less than my house for a full calendar year, about not wanting to be sex.
All right, the bailiff indicates that the jury has a question. All right, it's a question and a request. We'll deal with the request first. Can we feel the weight of the gun? Holding the box with the gun in it would suffice. So I think that's something we can accomplish by bringing the jury back in the courtroom. The other appears to be a request for a transcript. And it says, during the defense's cross-examination of Mr. Conley yesterday, right? The defense provided a transcript of Mr. Conley's previous deposition and asked Mr. Conley to read certain lines. What followed the exchange, was unclear in what was asked and what Mr. Conley responded with. Can we be provided a copy of this exchange as it took place yesterday?
They want the testimony read back.
Yes.
Have you ever granted those requests for a readback of the testimony?
We learn lawsuit, always avoid always, never use never, right? So yes, I have, reluctantly.
Because it's
the court's thought on this is that it's a very narrow request. It's not super large. I don't believe we would provide provide a transcript. I think if we give the court reporter time, she might be able to find that portion. And what I would ask is that the readback instruction that I would do, you've asked for transcripts of the testimony. Transcripts are not available. I'd modify that. You may request to have the testimony read to you. This request may be granted at the court's discretion. Depending on the amount of time, depending on the amount of testimony you wish to hear, it may take approximately, and I'll leave that up to the court reporter, to have the court reporter prepare the record to read back the requested testimony. Ordinarily I tell them, write down as specific a description as possible, the part of the witness's testimony. Well, that's pretty specific.
The state has no objection. Just my brief pulling up of it, a couple of the cases that I see, that is, if we denied their ability to reread, that could potentially be an issue. So the state doesn't have a problem being very narrow in what we're rereading to them. But I think, like the court has stated, they pretty specifically requested what they want to hear back. I think it would be prudent to decide what they are to hear before they come back in, and make sure that all parties agree that that's what they're going to hear. But the state would have no objection to rereading a specific portion of the testimony today.
Concur? Agree?
All right. And concept of the amount of time that would take you to find that and get prepared to read it to them?
Transcript?
It would be the cross-examination, and I believe Mr. Riasti had 2 or 3 pages of the, 2 pages of the transcript, and ask
I approve.
first the witness to read it, and there was an objection to reading aloud, and he said, read it to yourself, and then Mr. Riasti asked him questions.
He responded.
And so I guess really the question is, where do we stop? Because I don't recall where your cross-examination stopped. Was it?
There was a couple of questions about that topic, so the questions asked on that topic, and then the answers to those topics, and then you can tell right after that when my questions changed to a different topic. So I asked, if I remember right, I said your recollection was,
But, so I guess what I'm trying to do is when I bring the jury in, I'm going to ask them to go back and specifically detail, do they want only the questions beginning with the presentation of the transcript and the answers to the questions regarding the transcript and the follow-up questions? If that's what they want, they need to write that down specifically. I kind of think that's what that is, because they say the defense provided a transcript of Mr. Connolly's previous deposition and asked Mr. Connolly to read certain lines. What followed the exchange was unclear in what was asked and what Mr. Connolly responded with. So actually, I don't think I need any clarification. We'll have Madam Court Reporter look at that, and where she thinks it's the logical break, she can show that to both of you, where you believe you started a new line of interrogation, and then she can prepare the readback from there. All right?
yes, sir.
Now, let's have the firearm ready for them so we can deal with number 2. Any issues on that?
Question for you, Judge.
Yes, sir.
The gun lock obviously is going to add some weight to the gun. Do we want to remove the gun lock and keep it in a safe slide back position?
Yes, and since you'll be right there observing, then you can act as the range safety officer while they do that. And I'll also tell them, that way they'll know that they're getting the firearm only with the box and not the additional lock. Is that okay?
State's in agreement, Your Honor.
The defense agrees.
I can't fathom people who gun has to do with anything,
I have no
but it's interesting.
I wish I was there.
You know, Charles, I've got an idea. If you, I'll ask Franny to bring a Ziploc bag from my office, and we'll put the firearm in the Ziploc bag. That way they won't have the box, and it will require extra steps for them to manipulate it and get it for safety purposes. Any objection to that?
No objection, Your Honor.
That way they can actually hold it by the handle through the zipper.
Correct.
That was fast.
We're helping her complete her circles.
May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. All right. All right. So what do you think? Hour? Okay, so if I tell them 45 minutes, we're good, you think? Okay, all right. All right, let's have our jury. And why don't you sit them all in the front row? That'll make it more easier for them to view the firearm.
That's what we're trying to figure out how we want to do.
All right, and just direct them all to the front row.
Yes, Judge. Everyone along the front row, please.
All right, please be seated. Now, the bailiff has provided me with your note, and I see that as a question and as a request. The question is, during the defense's cross-examination of Mr. Connolly yesterday, the defense provided a transcript of Mr. Connolly's previous deposition and asked Mr. Connolly to read certain lines. What followed, the exchange, was unclear in what was asked and what Mr. Connolly responded with. Can we be provided a copy of the specific in the portions of the testimony you wish to hear? We can ask the court reporter to prepare a readback where she'll review her records and read back to you that portion of the testimony. Now, I'm going, after discussing with the state and with the defense, I believe what you're asking for is the testimony that began when the defense attorney gave Mr. Connolly the pages from the deposition, and there were a series of questions. Then there was a break in the questioning, and a new subject began. You're asking for the portions where he gave him the portion of the transcript and asked the questions, and stopping when the subject changed. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so I've talked to the court reporter. It may take a little bit of time. As you know, she's making a verbatim record of everything we're doing. So it may take her a little bit of time, probably up to 45 minutes for her to get that and be able to be in a position to read it back accurately to you. Now, as to your second is a request. Can we feel the weight of the gun? Holding the box with the gun in it would suffice. In order to give you the most accurate response to your request, I've had the bailiff remove the safety lock, but place the firearm into a Ziploc bag. The reason you're seated on the front row is the bailiff will stand with you as each one of you wishes to handle the firearm in order to assure safety. I had the lock removed and the box removed so that you can get the most realistic feeling of the weight of the firearm at your request. Bailiff. Was that satisfactory for you? Okay. All right, you may retire to continue your deliberations. We'll notify you when the readback is ready. All rise for the jury. All right, just let us know when you're ready. Madam Court Reporter.
Put the gun lock on.
I think that's a wise idea.